Nave cohort. We're back, which means it is Saturday, so it's time for Pilum Teaches DCS. We are going to be going up to do a handful of things today. Focusing again with the F-4 Phantom 2, as always. We're going to be doing a little bit of close air support, working with in-game JTAC. We're going to be doing a little bit of strike that goes with that, and we're probably going to follow that up with a little bit of air refueling and some seed work. Try and combine all those things here together as we go up to have some fun with this today. So with that, let's go ahead and admire the little dazzler we got there for Pride Month, and then we will go ahead and flip things over, getting into the game. Alright, so we are in our chariot of choice. And do a quick walk around the aircraft as we always do. Of course, things are paused. We are warmed up and ready to go. For our close air support mission today, we have a couple of different varieties of bombs. We have the 1,000-pound Mark 83s on the outboard pylons. We have 5 750-pound M117 bombs on the center line. And we are carrying a Shrike, which is currently tuned to the search radar for a SAM site, and a Maverick missile. We're not going to be using the Shrike or the Maverick for the close air support portion of what we're doing today. That's going to be pretty much all the bombs. And our mission is going to be to take off here from Nellis. And we'll go ahead and mosey on up, grab a little bit of gas from the tanker. And then we will need to come down here and help defend our friends. We have some assets that are in play. Guarding these 5 or 6 pixel-sized cars. But they are going to be engaged by enemy forces from further on up the road. To worry, those tanks aren't going to go anywhere until we get close enough to where we're going, but this is just for our educational purposes here today. Got a bunch of East German T-55s, some MTLBs, and even a couple of Sparkas there. Additionally, on our defense area, we've got some forward deployed infantry from the dismounted M113s. And we have a JTAC who should be able to help spot some targets for us, possibly even smoke them out, or otherwise provide marks, which will then allow us to get in and drop bombs with some degree of accuracy on them. Our goal is to prevent this town and its associated defenders from being overrun. So with that, let's go ahead and get into it, and we will talk a little bit about what and how we're doing things today.
Roger. Yes, sir. Chalk's out. Have a good flight, sir. Disconnecting. See ya.
Taxiing out of our very familiar home here at Nellis. The big things that we're going to need to do as we get into the zone is we need to identify where our friends are exactly and where they tell us the bad guys are.
Just to double check, are we hitting the deck on this one?
I'm not going to answer that for you there, Jester. You're going to be on your own. Now, there's a variety of ways that this can be done. For this particular mission, as we closed within about 10 nautical miles of that town, It's actually going to activate that group and send them on their way. And it will deploy some green smoke over our friendly troops. Now, the JTAC should also call that there are friendly, forces nearby and provide us directions where not to go. And then Ed brake coming up here, we're just going to go ahead and round out the taxi and get ready to take off. Good morning, Chief. We have some of the Kroger brand blueberry coffee rocking along this morning. Just a splash of cream for a little bit of color, not too much, and no sugar.
Engine's good. Airspeed's coming alive. $80 knots. 100 knots. Okay, Niels. 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. Gears moving. Flaps up. Gear up. You got it. Diversion steering set.
All right, now we are only 30 miles away, so I'm not going to worry about tanking just yet. We'll do that after we fly our cast mission over the top of the target. And again, while we're climbing out, we're going to go ahead and proceed up into this area because we know our cast mission is here. Because this is a training type scenario and mission, and we have the appropriate things turned on, we know where blue forces are just by looking at the F10 map. But if that isn't available, we're going to be relying on things like other navigation markers, like we are defending the point at Moapa and we need help. All right, cool. We know where Moapa is. We know how we can get there. We can navigate in a variety of different fashions. We know we're going to be providing close air support, and at the moment there are no aircraft in sight over the top of the area, so we're going to go ahead and preemptively set for bombs and DT for dive toss. Dive toss really does allow for some of the fastest response that you can provide in the F-4 and have consistent accuracy on it. You can get away with using direct, but you have to have a really good feel for where your bombs are, what your bombs are doing, and how they're going to perform if you're going to roll in using direct over the top of a target. If you're using snake eyes for the close air support roll, I would recommend using direct over DT.
I'm showing nails 10 o'clock and nails.
But since we are carrying several large bombs in the 750 and 1,000 pound class, we definitely want to make sure that we drop those where we want them to go and not have them, overrun a target area by a mile or so, because that could result in us bombing our friendlies, and that's not good either. And turn the master arm on. I've also preemptively dialed in our ripple settings to 0.25 and for a ripple quantity of 2. 2 is going to give me kind of the maximum dispersal over a narrow target area that I'm looking for, such as providing close air support over a moving target. It's also going to allow me to drop the most amount of bombs to get that job done. One of two things needs to happen while we're flying here on the close air support mission. We either need to eliminate all of the enemy units ourselves, thus sparing our friendlies from any kind of contact with the enemy, or we need to reduce their power level to such a minuscule amount that our defenders can actually take care of them. But it is going to be fairly quick, so we're probably going to be making use of that pause feature as we get in here, so we can examine the target area a little more closely and talk about what we're going to do before we get in and do it. One of the reasons why I'm offsetting a little bit, especially in the F-4, is we've got all this clutter right in front of the nose of the aircraft. So I'm trying to actually use other components to be able to look outside and see what's going on. That looks like our town there. And that broadly corresponds with what we're looking at. We're about 15 miles away, so another 5 miles or so we should see that pop up telling us that they are on their way. And a green smoke marker deployed between our friendly force groups. At this time, if we were working with a combined arms player, we'd be able to key in the radio to let them know that we are entering the area, what our expected range is, what our play time is on station, which is in minutes, and it's in minutes until you have to leave. So if you tell somebody after doing a little bit of fuel math and everything else that you got a play time of 45 minutes, but that's 45 minutes till fuel exhaustion, it's a lot less helpful. All right, we're going to go on pause here for just a moment. And if we can look out there, we can see we've got a little bit of green smoke. And this is between where our infantry group is out here, where our armored units are out here. Now, in their particular case, we can also see where the enemy units are already. Nevada's a little bit of an easier map for that kind of work, in that it's a lot of largely featureless desert, and these targets tend to stand out really well. But those targets are about 10 miles away, which is important because these are all first steps for getting in and doing CAS. We want to be up at an altitude that is reasonable to allow us some distance to see. A visibility of about 10 miles over the top of a CAS objective area is more or less ideal. In this case, we already know where we're supposed to be looking and what's going on, but let's go ahead and get in here to take a peek a little closer in. As we saw earlier before we got going with it, we have friendly armored units deployed here in the city, which include M113 APCs, M60 Patton Series tanks, and we've even got, somewhere here in the middle, yeah, here we go, an M48 Chaparral, and a Vulcan air defense system. So it's a full armored group that we've got there, more or less. The green smoke marker's been deployed, which will burn for a handful of seconds there, probably about a minute, minute and a half or so, before it will exhaust itself. And will be a little less useful for us as a reference, but also less useful for the enemy, which is good. And then we have our forward deployed infantry down here behind sandbags trying to keep themselves safe. Now, if they have a shot on this armored column, which, you know, is already starting to move, they're going to get into formation and start moving there. You can ignore the train for a minute. But they're going to start pushing down, and they're only just a few miles away, so we're really going to need to work a little quickly to get in and engage those targets. From the pilot's seat, friendly group 1, green smoke marker is an indicator, friendly group 2, the enemy. We're going to want to try and come in on the enemy and drop our first pair of bombs slightly in front of them, because they're going to be moving. So we're going to have to lead our target a little bit manually on that. And we're going to try and aim for the core of the group before trying to pick off anything else. The other thing that we can do now is go ahead and contact our JTAC on the radio.
Hammer 5-1, this is Uzi 1-1 F-4E. Quebec Alpha 1-1-4-8 11,000. I have AGM 65B, AGM 45E, Block 83, M117, 650 cannon. Time on station is 0 plus 15. Available for tasking. What do you have for us?
That's the hope.
Ready to copy.
Okay, so he wants us to egress east. We are not really in a good position for that, so we're going to have to circle back around.
Ready to copy remarks.
Alright, well, we're not going to give you an AGM-65B. We're going to give you bombs. So those Mavericks are going to take a bit of time to get equipped. Alright, so we've communicated with the JTAC. The JTAC has told us that there's armored vehicles coming down the road. He has no mark for us, so there's no smoke, no anything really going on. He wants us to egress to the west, or east rather, once we're done. So at this point, we are rolling in hot.
Right, 7 o'clock. SA2.
A little bit of afterburner just to keep our speed up so we can maneuver. We're going to latch the target area.
Captured.
Pickle pair. And with that formation, we've largely hit it.
Uzi 1, attack completed time.
We're going to go ahead and set up again. So we want to make sure that that whole group is done and dealt with. So let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit, see if we can take a look. There's more units on the move. So we're going to try and roll in on them again. At least we're a ton lighter right now. Got our target. Going to try and lead them here a little bit.
Captured.
Ripple another pair. We'll set up for our centerline bombs just in case, but we'll do another orbit and take a look. Go ahead and we'll pause here for just a moment as we will come down here and look a little more directly. Our first attack came in and really kind of wreaked havoc here. Looks like we killed all the MTLBs and one of the T-55s on our first pass. And as that group sought to escape, there's still a T-55 that's cooking, one that's burning up, and a Sparka that is damaged. So that group still isn't quite dead yet, but they have been drastically reduced in effectiveness. So we're going to come in on them again with the 750s. We got 8,500 pounds in the tank, so we got plenty of gas. And it looks like they might still be stopped, which is good. If they're not moving, we can put these more or less right where we want.
And captured.
We've been thanked for our passion and our support. And the reason why the JTAC called abort is because I dropped bombs instead of the Maverick that he was wanting, and I hit more than just the target he was looking at. But our group is dealt with. And our folks are safe. Alright, so with that, we'd still have some bombs and other weapons on board the aircraft. Let's go ahead and get ourselves some gas. And we'll proceed to a new phase. Maverick is on our left pylon there. We're going to go and start warming that one up. Reset the head tracking there a little bit. Now, earlier I set the TACAN already to the tanker. Go ahead and we'll communicate with him.
Texaco 2-1, Uzi 1, request rejoin.
No, can't do that. We have a friendly KC-135, 12 o'clock, 9 miles.
Okay. Now, as always, I like to tell Jester to shut his mouth here. The main reason for that being he will provide corrective action for getting onto the boom. But due to the natural lag and delay between your position flying in formation with the tanker and Jester's voice text line and how long it takes to say it, there's a little bit of latency between the two. So while he's giving you decent corrective information on the first couple of messages, like, you know, forward 5 or up 10 or you're charging the boom, whatever the information might be, he very quickly gets to a point where you are responding faster than he is able to provide corrective action. And when he does that, now he's minutes behind and not very helpful at all. At about 7,000 pounds, I'm not going to get a full tank and get those magic transfer complete words from the tanker. Mostly because we don't really need it, and in part because the F-4 does not fill up very fast for the last couple thousand pounds. Even hooked up to a mighty boom tanker like a KC-135. Although if he gets cruising much further here, we're going to be a little too close to that SA2. How fast did he say he was going? Let's check our message history. Velocity's 300, so he's doing 300 knots indicated for his altitude right now. Thankfully he is turning around, so we can catch him on the backside here of his tanker track. Pick up the throttles again here so we can get to the tanker. Alright, we're catching up to our tanker friend, so we're going to pull our throttles back a little bit. We're within half a mile, so he's turned his lights on and he's extending the boom. Now he told us 300, but that's very seldom entirely accurate. So you kind of have to go a little bit by feel. He's actually doing probably about 330 knots indicated. We're going to go ahead and pull up here next to him so we can get a better feel for his speed and trim our aircraft for the airspeed of the tanker. If we're doing things a little more by the book and procedurally, this is known as the observer's position of the aircraft. This is where aircraft waiting to tank should be staged. And you're basically using this time frame to do exactly this. Trim the aircraft for the airspeed the tanker's going, try and maintain a nice station keeping position with the tanker, get a good feel for its speed. And we're the only one here. I'm going to go ahead and open the tanker's refueling, or the F-4's refueling door. It will automatically call ready pre-contact for us once we're in good parameters. And at this point, we are coming up here to do what's known as fly the lines, which I'm going to pause for a moment since we're in single player. Come out here to our aircraft. We've got our F-4. Refueling door is open. We are ready to receive gas. Jester's been told to quiet himself and not make so much noise. Refueling boom is in position, but what we're going to be paying attention to are these lights. The indicator here on the right-hand side of the aircraft is fore and aft. That indicates what corrective action you need to take. So right now we are understandably far behind the boom. So our corrective action is to come forward. Ideally what we want is this green light in the middle to be illuminated on both sides, left and right. If we're too far forward, the aft corrective action light will show up and tell us that we need to try and push backwards. On the left-hand side, we have up and down. Right now we're at a good altitude for the tanker, so it's in good parameters. That light is very much green. But same thing, it tells us what corrective action to take. You have to follow the arrows there on that one to kind of either come up or go down. Ideally, we want to try and keep ourselves in the green on both sides. It's going to wobble a little bit. That is normal. Once we get connected to the tanker, the throttle's still going to move ever so slightly. It's not something that you can just kind of set and forget. Like, you're never going to be able to do that if you're doing any kind of formation flying. It is always a game of manipulating the throttle to make sure that you're in good position. With the F-4, we have a couple other buttons that we need to keep in mind too. One is the air refueling disconnect. We'd use that one once we're actually transfer complete and ready to make our way out. And if for whatever reason we disconnect from the tanker in the midst of refueling, in order to successfully connect again and refill the tanks, we need to close and reopen this refueling door. Those are all keys that you're going to want to have bound somewhere to make that work. All right, let's go ahead and get back in here and unpause. Still a little too far back. Pick the throttles up just a little bit. Nice, gentle, fine controls. We're disengaged, so we're going to have to close and reopen that.
Ready for contact.
We do have an ad break coming up here, but we've talked a little bit about the mechanics of it, so I'm just going to get on here and do that, and I will catch up with the rest of you when you get back.
contact. You're taking fuel. Ready for contact. Contact. You're taking fuel.
Just to follow in the lights. Doing the thing with the lights. I like that. We'll take a screenshot of that. That's a good one. Bing bong. All right, welcome back from the ad break there. So I paused while I'm actually hooked up to the tanker. We are starting to slip a little bit, so we'll need to correct that here in just a moment. And we can kind of see where the ideal spot is there in the middle of the green, and that we are starting to get to the extreme ends of the tanker. We're also above 10,000 pounds. I'm kind of above where I want to be.
Ready for contact.
But that is about the point where the F-4 really starts to get... Oh, hello. Welcome, raiding party. I'm actually too far forward here. Let's go and ease back just a bit. Welcome, folks.
Return free contact. Contact. Transfer complete.
Yeah, we had the overpressure there. Yeah, we're fine. I've got more than enough gas for what we need. But again, with the F-4, as you get up to that last feeder tank, it does take quite a bit of extra time to get that gas. So if you're looking in more like an operational type setting, that kind of thing. Appreciate the rating party there for the Queen, as I now have a chance to look over at the other screen. But if you're moving in like an operational type capacity, you should probably really only top off to about 10,000 pounds. he said transfer complete, so he's done with us. We can go and continue on our mission. I know we were warming up the Mavericks first, but I do believe we have some friends to deal with, so let's check in with the AWACS.
Overlord 1-1, Uzi 1, request bogey dope.
Our master arms on, our sparrows are selected. We'll take a minute here just to pause and take a look at where we are. So 338, they're telling us that they're somewhere out in this direction. Could drag our compass rose down here on top of ourselves and really pinpoint that one, but somewhere here in the Sally corridor, probably defending our new target area there at Alamo. And they're at 12,000 feet, so they're a little bit below us. I'm going to drop the nose here so we can let the radar look mostly up towards the target area. Makes it a little easier for Jester to find them. And more importantly, we'll have Jester talk to us again. Well, he's not terribly helpful in the air refueling portions of it when he starts lagging behind and giving you corrective movements. He is helpful just about everywhere else.
Returning to regular scan.
Out in front of us here somewhere. So they are somewhat cold to us from the last call.
I see a new bogey. Left
Here we go.
23 miles, 5,000. Surprise! Target's a bandit.
There they are.
Locking bogey, left 25 degrees, 23 miles. We have a friendly, 10 o'clock, 10 miles. Locked. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, shoot. Returning to regular scan. Wilco. Locked. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, shoot.
All right, and another quick pause. We'll talk about what's actually on the screen here since we're about to go ahead and get into it. I also have to adjust my chair again there. That handle decided it was going to go ahead and just pull itself. All right, so we have our bandit. We have a little dot for the best intercept course. And we have the max range and minimum range lines. And the circle there in the center is the maximum maneuvering limits there for the Sparrow. So we're going to try and get that target to be in between those two bars, and then we'll be able to pull the trigger on him. We could turn the interlock out and shoot the missile anyway if we feel like we might be able to force him into turning into the missile's path and make that better. But we're going to go ahead and just try it without it here for now. Looking good. Come on. Come on. There we go. That's better. That's better. That's better. And Fox 1. looks like a good track. See which one we kill
We've
here.
got a bandit. 12 o'clock. 3 miles. Watch it. Mud. 11 o'clock.
Splash Bandit.
And nails. SA8.
Box 2.
12 o'clock.
Good splash on him.
We've got a bandit. 10 o'clock high.
He is very dead.
The bandit is down. Okay, sanitizing the sky again.
Alright, so we're going to push out to the south, try and get back up above this cloud layer here. Because our target area here is Alamo, but we now need to take a little bit of time again to get that Maverick ready to shoot. Switch back to air to ground. Pull up that other pylon. We are in direct mode. And TV selected. Set our radar back to the camera. And for now, we'll just keep a nice easy pace until we wait for that arm light to show up. Hey, iHort, welcome. Also, to help us out here a little bit, I am just going to go ahead and put a mark down here. It should update here soon.
Okay. Diversion steering set.
Yeah, that one worked out rather well. We had those two MiGs coming in, and we were able to shoot one with the Sparrow and held the lock all the way to impact, and then we're able to just quickly cycle over to the Sidewinder and give him one of those for his friend. Alright, so for the Maverick, we have set our air-to-ground reticle depression to 45 mil dots, which should roughly align the Maverick seeker head with the Pipper on the screen. We are carrying AGM-65B Mavericks, which has a fixed 4x zoom that you cannot change. Depending upon the era of the mission that you're flying and what weapons are available, you could use the infrared 65D, which has a variable 1x, 4x zoom. And we can tell too that we are rather substantially out of alignment, as it says that my target area is out here to the west. It's not, it's actually up here to the northwest. Hello, Chunk on Twitch, welcome. This does give us time to set ourselves up really well. Now we'll see if we can find first the SA-8. It can carry the, I think it's the Gulf on single rail pylon. So yeah, I think it does have some large warheads available. Again, depending upon, you know, what the mission editor sets up as any kind of arms limitations. They can't be carried in the special weapons pylons though, so that does take away the sidewinders. Okay, somewhere out here is the town of Alamo. Probably hidden cleverly under a cloud. We'll need to have Jester fix our alignment when we get to a better place for that. But we do have a Maverick, a Shrike, and a couple bombs left on board, so that should let us at least start working down Alamo as a target area. Appreciate the follow. Follows and subs make the word go round. Get ourselves a little bit more altitude here. I think the town is actually over that ridgeline out there. Yeah, I see some of the greenery and the river that runs through that. Here's the 2. At least I'm not trying to find it in the backseat. Okay, man, we're actually kind of moving north of that town. Large Lake was one of my waypoints there. Yeah, that large lake is this one. That's it. That's the city. You see the SA2 site, but I have a Shrike for him, so I'm not going to worry so much about that one. At least just yet. He'll shoot at me and make me worry about him. I'm trying to look for the 1 or 2 little pixels that would be our friend the OSA. And I think come on. Probably close enough. Rifle. And Magnum. Oh, we just missed him. Just missed Mr. Osa. Alright, bombs it is. Gonna reset my quantity here to 1.
We got a stinger right on our nose. SA2. Missile, 10 o'clock. Missile, 10 o'clock.
Yeah. Always panicking, Jester. Well, to be fair, if I did nothing about it, it would hit me, so. He's got that going for him.
Okay, captured.
Nicolosa. Get that SA-8. Let's see if we killed him. Preferably, not while I'm gonna get killed. Be most ideal. And we missed him. Bomb fell short. It's alright, we got another chance, we could play again. And we know we're aiming just left of that fire.
We got a stinger right on our nose. SA-8. Missile, missile, missile. 12 o'clock. That's a stinger. 12 o'clock. SA-8. Captured.
And that's a dead OSA. We got at least one bomb left. Let's try and take out that SA-2 search and track system. A little bit of go get 'em juice.
Captured. Oh no, I'm hit. I'm hit. We took a hit.
Okay, we got Igled. It was, yes. And that said, it doesn't feel like it is a super serious hit.
And captured.
No, I don't want you to capture it, Chester.
Alright, scanning the sky again.
Bill rate's still flowing well. Let's go and set up for 12 X-ray. We'll head for home. And we'll do a cursory aircraft inspection. Okay, drogue chute's a little bit MIA. Got some paint peeled back and some wires exposed. I'm sure that's safe though. Electrician will have a field day with that. Dropped a bomb, but I've got the feeling that maybe the reason why we only suffered the one hit was that the bomb took the other one. So we will cruise for home.
New bogeys. All right, Dan, let's take a look at their IFF. We have a friendly, bra, left 50 degrees, 9 miles, Angels 16. And a friendly, bra, left 10, 18 miles, Angels 19. We have a friendly, KC-135, 10 o'clock, 9 miles.
Hydraulic pressure still looking good. Engine oil pressure's okay. It could have been worse. Alright, TACAN for home says we are 47 miles away with 3,500 pounds. We should be okay to get home.
We have a friendly, 11 o'clock, 8 miles.
Looks like our right nozzle is in the full open position though, if the indicator's anything in there. And our left engine is running a little warm. Back underneath our panel here. Our IFF system appears to be out. IFF system does not work in OFF position. Let's see if I can put it in emergency mode. Nope, that didn't clear it. Alright, 20 miles. At least Chester's panicking less. Better, it took the intercom out too, so small blessings, I can't hear him. Yep, right engine is definitely in the full open position.
We've got a friendly, KC-135, 4 o'clock, 7 miles.
A lot of scarring there. Sorry, Gleam. And hopefully, as we slow down to a safer landing and gear deployment speed, we don't have any porpoising going on from having all that damage on the back near the stabilizer. It's going to take her out of autopilot. And we'll begin our descent. First into Madness and then over the top of Nellis. Yeah, that right engine nozzle is just completely not responsive. Okay, seats raised. So far, so good. Let's start trimming out. Looks like 3 down. No horrifying feelings once I put the flaps out, so we should be more or less on the money here.
All right, gear, flaps, pressure, warning lights, and anti-skid.
Okay, so we raised the seat up in the F-4 because if you're trying to fly this one more or less on AOA, you need to be able to look down the nose to see where you're going. That piercing oral tone that you got rocking on there is actually a way of telling whether or not you're on AOA. Long, solid, continuous tone is on AOA. Which is also why I turned that down, so it's not quite as piercing for the folks watching at home or on YouTube later.
500. $300. Yeah, if the runway was bread, you'd be the butter.
Thanks, Chester. Alright, since we're here in Nevada, and home means Nevada to me, we'll go ahead and turn on the 235 air conditioning system. That's important for the F-4. There we go. Air conditioning system's working on full blast. Two windows open at 35 knots. We'll park it underneath one of these overhangs and let the repairs and everything happen, and while we're doing that, we'll inspect that site for damage. And we'll get ready to make another attack on it. Those man pads definitely stitch us pretty well, but we managed to bring the aircraft back in one piece. Oh wow, yeah, the crew radios are out too. Intercom. It's fun. Okay, so all that is done.
Request repair. Unable to comply. Request repair. Copy.
Go ahead and get rearmed for turn trip. I think that bomb arrangement's probably going to be fine.
Request refueling. Request
Unable to
rearming.
comply. Unable to comply.
No, yeah, I actually need repairs first before it'll actually let me do the refuel. Alright, so taking a peek down here. That search radar is still very much active. Yeah, we got a bunch of special friends parked out here. Even some gun platforms, too. We'll make our next mission sortie there, the SA-2 site. Which I think we'll actually carry double strikes for. And then bring the arrangement of bombs up again. But first we need to fix all the holes in the plane. "30 seconds more." Alright, let's go ahead and set up for 2 strikes. We're going to go ahead and put a lat face on one side. And the fan song on the other. No, I don't want to do it. I want to do a loft. We'll do direct for both. 5 little bombs there, 4 big bombs there. Some gas.
Request refueling.
Make that happen.
Request
Copy.
rearming.
Copy.
Roger. Carts locked and loaded.
Okay, since we shut the airplane down, we
Tank down and locked.
They're going to need to realignment.
And stripes aligned.
Let's jump in the back seat and do that ourselves.
Roger. Yes, sir. Wheel chocks in.
Happily refueling the aircraft. We see the fuel is ticking up pretty quick. But again, as we get about to 9 or almost 10,000 pounds, that's going to slow down a lot. There it is. Now it's still refueling, but it's taking its sweet time as it's getting into that last feeder tank. Well, here in the back seat, we're just waiting on this light to start flashing green. Check in on Jester in a little bit. Hopefully, by the time we're refueled and rearmed, we should also be realigned. Looks like everything's working like it's supposed to again. Light's green. I'm actually going to let that continue for a little while before we flip it over. Try and get it to be just a little bit better of an alignment. The timing that it feels like for this fuel tank is to go from 1,000 pounds to 10,000 pounds is about as distant as it takes to go from 10 to 12.
Roger.
Almost there.
And the wheel chocks are out. Go get them, sir. Pew, 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 pew. Disconnecting.
Thinking about it. Struggle bussing about it. I've had folks ask from time to time where the fuel gauge is for the back seat on the F4. We can actually show that off here real quick. It's a very easy to find place. Just have to lean your head to the right. like all the way,
Refueling complete.
and zoom in, and you can see it there in the pilot's gauge, as long as he's not looking out to the right. There's no fuel gauge in the actual back seat. No totalizer for the backseater. It does update in real time in multi-crew though, so if you are a backseater, can in fact look over his shoulder and make that happen. Alright, let's jump back here and turn that back to a lion for the navigation
Alignment
mode.
completed. You can go primary sync now. Ah, ready to taxi.
Looks like we are facing northeast, so we are good to go.
Okay. Steering set in TGT 1.